That's right, you are watching a YouTube video of me rubbing my meat. Hi guys, welcome to this video, and I'm going to be answering the most important question when it comes to obtaining a really good physique: diet, and what makes a good diet. So the first thing I want to show you is where to source your meat. Now, for any diet, protein is really important, and meat will be your main source for that. Over the years, a lot of supermarkets have found ways of selling cheaper meat and not losing any of the quality. Flat out, it's not true. I've tried lots of different supermarkets. We used to buy a whole chicken each week from a different supermarket and we tested them out. I found out all come from the same factory, all from the same warehouse. The only difference in the chickens is the prices the supermarkets pay. They are exactly the same chickens, and they were all quite poor quality compared to what you can get. Get yourself down to your local butcher, okay? And let me show you why. Chicken breast from your local butcher, the size you get here will be the size you have when it comes out of the oven or the grill. You will not have that with any supermarket bought products. They inject water into it and it shrivels, and I will defy anyone who can find a supermarket where that does not occur. Your local butcher, they don't inject any water, make sure they get the best, the absolute best. So you need to make sure you get yourself down to your local butcher, support local companies, and you will always get freshness as well. Okay, it's always the best quality stuff they can give you. From my local butcher, I get quite a lot. Now, mine does a special deal. We get about 6 chicken breasts, which will do me for about half the week. But with that, we also get pork chops. Most people, when they're on a healthy diet, try to keep away from pork. Sausages, yes. However, I will show some variations you can do with some sausages. But pork chops with some slight prepping can be tasty and healthy. Half pound of mince, stewing beef, bacon. Works quite well for snacks. You can do a lot with them. They work really, really well with dates as well. If you want to try and get some fruit in there, wrapping bacon and dates together works amazingly. But I'm going to show you that later. Anything I don't use, I can freeze, and I do. I occasionally freeze quite a lot. Sometimes I won't use the pork chops. Sometimes I won't use all the chicken breasts. And because I'm prepping the food, I can freeze it in the quantities I need. So it works really, really well if you want to plan ahead. Just make sure you're buying quality. We're going to have a look now at how to prep some of these so they become tasty meals. Depending on what you're aiming for, your protein requirements are going to be slightly different. Now, as a general rule, I tend to go for my body weight, which currently is at 76 kilograms. And my protein requirements will be my body weight times about 1.5. That's if you're looking to build muscle, okay? 1.5 times your body weight. If you are looking for more tone, I recommend 1.2, 1.3 times your body weight, okay? It doesn't have to be accurate. People get fixated on diet and they focus so much on irrelevant stuff. You've got to get that exact gram of rice in, otherwise it just won't work. You don't need to be that anal with your diet, okay? You can still have more relaxed fun with it. So back to the chicken. Okay, so we've got our chicken breasts. Now, normally I need between 1.5 to 2 chicken breasts, depending on the meal I'm doing and the things that come with the meal. So I'll show you a standard one that I do for 1.5 chicken breasts. Okay. Now, the reason it's 1.5 chicken breasts is because in the past I've been weighing what I need, and I figured out that it's roughly what I require. So I can take my pot, pop it on the scales, set it to 0. It comes to 332 grams. But the important bit now, the bit that makes it more fun, the seasoning. You know what your flavours are that you like. If you don't, try some new things. Lots of shops now sell pre-seasoned packets. You just sort of shake it in and you're done. I really recommend these. These work wonders for trying new flavours, new tastes. I've been playing around with it for a bit and I've come up with sort of 5 or 6 that I really like. So I'm just going to quickly show you those. Paprika. I cannot state how much I love paprika. Oh, it's delicious. Really good, really fiery, smoky taste. It works really well. So paprika's definitely one to use. It's Nando's peri peri sauce. Now, I go for the weaker lemon and herb. I know. I'm not a huge fan of heat. I like spicy, but I don't like hot. So the lemon and herb one, marinade really well. You pour some on the chicken, leave it for as long as you need, and then when you cook it, it's soaked in all of that flavour. It's really nice. So that's another good one that you can get. Peri peri itself, Nando's doesn't hold a monopoly on peri peri. It's been around for a while. The contents tends to be roughly the same. It's the proportions that each company changes, so you get more heat from things. So there'll be more onions in one thing, more chili powder in another version. So try different brands. You might find a brand that you actually like. Mixed spice. Okay, so this one, again, really nice flavours. They can be a bit intense. Play around with them. Play around, find out what flavours you like. So we've got our spices. We've got a range of 5-6 different spices. Okay, here's what we're going to do with them. So my first meal, I think I'm going to go for, just for a change, a bit of paprika. Okay, so all I'm going to do is literally just sprinkle on a bit of paprika. That's it. There's nothing technical about it. Now, this meal is going to be used as a grilled chicken breast. So paprika works really well when grilled because it brings out all the smokiness. If you're going to oven the paprika, or anything with paprika on it, I recommend wrapping it in foil. It seals in the smoke. I've done that. That's it. All I need next is a lid. You've marinated it, or you've sprinkled it on top. It's not marinated. It's not covered everything. Now the fun part. Shake. Coated. Now, the longer I leave that, the more that paprika is going to seep in. So, what I was doing is going straight into the fridge. First meal of the day, sorted. The one type of food everyone seems to try and avoid when eating healthy: pork. Let me show you. Is this stuff. Okay? The skin and the fat. Now, when this is going into your body, you've got to think the human body literally is going to have that on top of it. We don't want that. Most people find the pork chop, actually, it's the skin and the fat that's the tastiest bit. So, and I find that too. And it's also important that you've got to have some fats in your diet. What I'm going to do is just cut along the edge. Okay, and take off, come on you, take off the majority of the skin. Okay, just a little bit. Got to have a treat. Another thing you can do with your knife, just do little scores. Okay. So tiny little scores. That's all you're doing. So you're just breaking the meat. Don't cut all the way through. You only about halfway through the actual steak itself. But this means that you can add more flavourings. The more surface area you have, the more flavour the meat is going to be able to absorb. So that tiny little bit of fat at the bottom, that, as it's cooking, is going to seep into all of these pores. So this is a really good way of getting lots of flavour again. Again, with diet, people find flavour is what's lacking. Okay, so I've cut all or most of the fat off. Here it is, okay? Now, obviously, fat, bad. Not always, but let me just show you something. Pop these on our scales. That's 165 grams. So that's 165 grams worth of fat. So as a general rule for fat, per gram of fat, you are looking at about 8 calories. Okay, so that's about 1,300 calories we've taken out of our meat, but we're not going to lose much of the flavour. Easy, simple tips. Peri peri pork, so I'm going to put that on now. Yes. Salt and pepper again. I like salt and pepper. Okay, just rub it in. One long bit, tuck it under. That's now going to stay sealed. So again, you've got the choice. You can put this in the freezer, but I'm going to be using this on day 2 of my diet, so I'm going to make sure it goes in the fridge. So a lot of this prep work might seem quite time consuming, but once you get into a routine with it, you can season your chickens quickly, season your meats very quickly, chucking them in the fridge, and they are done and ready for your whole week. Usually it takes me about 10-15 minutes just to get the meat out, cover it in what I need seasoning wise, and stick it in the fridge or freezer for what I need. So with my meats now done, I've done enough for 5 days. I've got some in the freezer as well, so they're ready, which I can take out usually the night before the day I'm going to eat it to give it time to naturally defrost. Okay, so you've got your meats. What else are you going to have on your plate? And this is where you can have a lot of variation. This is where people again get bored very, very quickly. In terms of my main buys, fresh and tinned tend to be the 2 things I focus on the most. In terms of fresh, what do I have? Let me show you. I do focus a lot on things like spinach that work really, really well. Peppers. Peppers are absolutely delicious. The darker, the redder the pepper, the sweeter the taste. So avoid green peppers. Onions, I absolutely adore onions. Shallots is one I also get a lot of, but red onions work really well, especially with the pork. And white onions, they work really well if you chop them very finely or into rings. With the steak, work beautifully. Shallots work even better with them. Spring onions as well. These work very, very nicely with the chicken. Fresh garlic. Can't beat fresh garlic. While I've got no problems with the pre-seasoned stuff, some stuff does require fresh garlic and it just enhances the flavour. Sweet potatoes. Now I do have normal potatoes from time to time. There will be weeks I will buy a bag of white potatoes. Sweet potatoes, the carbohydrates in them are much more complex. Work really, really well as wedges. They make a fantastic mash out of them as well. Very, very versatile, that you can use them in every way that you do with a normal potato. The skin on them isn't as delicious as they are on white potatoes, but still very, very good with cinnamon as well. Or, can you tell I like ginger? I do like a bit of ginger. So they work well as well. Mushrooms, a wide variety, lots of different flavours. People think mushrooms just taste like mushrooms and that's it. There's not. There's such a wide variation. Currently, my big obsession, as we can see, chestnut mushrooms. Absolutely adore them. Try variations. Mushrooms work really, really well. Majority of my fresh as well, if I'm trying to stave off hunger. Apples. Absolutely adore apple. Want me happy? If you see me grumpy, don't give me a chocolate bar. Give me an apple. Okay, and a red one at that. Green ones tend to be a bit sharper. I like things like, there we are, pink lady. Love a pink lady. They're just sweet. They stave off hunger just for a little bit. Really, really good for leveling out your sugar levels as well. I do use frozen vegetables. However, they are often not a last resort, but a backup plan should I run out of fresh. In terms of non-fresh, shall we say, so non-fruit and veg. Now you can use white rice, got no problem with that. Brown rice, slightly more complex. Essentially, it's a slightly different type of rice. The things that actually make it difficult for your body to digest are left on. So it takes a little longer to cook. The carbohydrates in them are a little more complex. And if it takes long for your body to digest, it means your body is using more energy and there are more micronutrients in this than there are in white rice. Alternatives for sauces. My new friend, Greek yogurt. You can get 0 fat, you can get a 5% fat. Both work really, really well. Mixing this in with things like... So So a little bit of garlic seasoning. You can come up with some really, really nice garlic mayo. If I want anything different, I've got some granola. Really, really good. Works well as a base for a lot of things. If you're feeling hungry, you can mix in the Greek yogurt and the granola. Give yourself something a bit more flavour and texture to it. Works really, really well. We've also got some Italian olive oil, which I bought back from holiday. Absolutely delicious. Fresh from the source, but normal oil's fine. I just like olive oil. I think it's got lots of flavour in there. What else have we got? In terms of tin, well, you've already met my seasoned friends. So everything from salt and pepper, peri-peri, mixed spice, they all work wonders. Most of the things I buy tinned are things that I either find really tedious to have to cut. So for example, tomatoes. Not a fan of chopping tomatoes, so I will buy them chopped. Next one, baked beans. The UK lives on baked beans, and so my diet contains a lot of them. Lots of fibre, lots of good nutrients, even a good complex source actually of carbohydrates. Beans are really, really good. I do get kidney beans in a chili sauce, so with the mincemeat that I've got, I can turn that into a nice chili. Obviously I'm going to add more seasoning, but it just saves me having to buy additional things. Stick that in, and I've got myself halfway to a decent chili. That's essentially what's going to be filling up my plate apart from the meat that's on there. So you are looking at spending roughly £30 to £40 a week on your food, which is a standard shop. So there's not that much difference between your normal shop with all your crisps and nice things and treats and that of your standard shop. There's not a huge difference between the two. Okay? It's all about choices and finding ways to make slightly different choices. Okay? Because that's all diet is. Diet isn't about losing weight. Diet isn't about sticking to a certain routine with your food for a few weeks to lose a few pounds. Diet is, dictionary definition, the food that something eats on a regular basis. So my cat's diet is a pouch of fish flavoured, I don't even know what the heck it is. I'm assuming it's real fish, but eating a pouch of fish every day and a handful of dried chicken flavoured bite things. That's his diet. That's what he will have on a regular basis because that's what his body needs to survive. That's his lifestyle. He didn't choose that, I gave it to him, but that's his lifestyle, that's his diet. Now in the past, I used to, and quite a lot, I used to do what we call a binge. And I found that to be really, really self-deprecating. I would work really, really hard to make sure that I'd stayed healthy throughout the week. I would go to the gym for a few hours a day. I would have broccoli and chicken and rice, no sauces, no seasonings, nothing, plain. Because everyone around me was doing that. Everyone who I was following for fitness was doing exactly the same thing. And I realised that wasn't my way, because come the weekend, when I wouldn't be seeing those influences, when I wouldn't have that set routine of, okay, now the gym, okay, now this, okay, now dinner, okay, now work. Because I didn't have that set routine on the weekend, food would take over. It would completely take over. It would have absolute control of everything I was doing. I would go to the shop and say, okay, I'm going to have a small treat. I would come out with a bag of family-sized bag of sweets, a family share bag of Doritos crisps or popcorn, or a tub of Ben & Jerry's, a whole tub of Ben & Jerry's, and all of them would be gone before I went to bed that night. Those weekend binges are the most difficult thing that you will face if you are trying to eat healthy. Having slight variations, small changes, everything I've shown you today, do not implement all of them at once. Do one thing. One thing only. That's all I want you to do. Have everything I've shown today, this week, do one of them. Because as soon as you force your body to radically change, it does not like it. It panics. When it panics, your anxiety builds up and your cravings will increase. That's one thing that will happen. And you will notice that will happen within the first couple of days. You will be irritable, you will have rubbish sleep, you will not be enjoying your new diet, your new way of eating. That's one thing that will happen. Option 2, you will have the strength and you will go amazingly on until Friday. From Monday to Friday, you will be fine. You'll be like, this isn't too bad. Then Saturday will come, or Friday night, the night you go out with your friends, the night you have a social life. Because then you're faced with alcohol. Lowers your inhibitions, lowers your ability to make good choices. You will be faced with junk food, a cinema night, a little treat. Your body doesn't respond well when it's been refused treats for 5 days and then suddenly there's an option to have a small treat. Your body will not go for small options. Your body will want to have the largest, most calorific, flavour, sugar-induced rush it can get its hold on. This is why I'm saying your diet needs to be gradual changing. Because if you're doing it gradually, your body won't notice. It won't give you those sugar cravings as much as you think. I want you to think about what one change are you going to make this week. Do it for a week. Then, next week, change one more thing. These small changes will slowly add up and you will find you'll have a much more easy transition into your new diet. Now, it took me 10 years to learn that, and I had to learn it alone. I don't want you guys learning it alone. I'm here to help you transition. So if you want any hints, any tips, any suggestions on what to change next, leave in the comments below. Okay, make sure you subscribe, make sure you've hit that bell for notifications for any new videos I'm going to be bringing up. I will be covering diet again very soon. The next couple of videos are going to be exercise based, so if you want any specific exercises, make sure you hit that subscribe button and comment below. So thanks very much for watching, guys. I shall see you soon. Bye.